All right, hello. Welcome everyone, welcome everybody. And this week we are going to be starting with the New York morning session. So the cream of the crop, the most volatile session of the day, basically. And we are just going to be starting right now. All right. So I'm on the Nasdaq micro chart. I have made some annotations already. Most salient thing I want to pay attention to is those perfect relative equal lows right here. I like those as potential draw. I did annotated the opening range gap high. That's the previous settlement, previous day's close, and we are going to be opening in the next 5 seconds. So there we go. So that's the open. Or RTH low in this case. So eyeballing 50% would be around here, already tagged. That's fine. Small discount opening range gap, or maybe not that small, but for the current volatility reasonably smaller than what we saw recently. 44 handles, 50% already filled. My attention is not looking for higher prices here. I mean, if it goes, that's fine, I will allow for that, but my attention is specifically here at the pre-market sell-side liquidity at 26,702. Welcome Candy, hello, nice to see you, around. And yeah, that's something what I'm willing to observe and watch in the initial 30 minutes of the opening range. We build up this nice little rally up in here, poked buy side many times, buy side, traded into the 50% of the opening range gap already, rejected that. So now let's see whether we can find any ground or resistance at the low of the RTH, and then the sell side here would be fairly reasonable for today's morning session, I would say. So that's kinda what I'm thinking. Let's see. This might be a potential first presented fair value gap for today, also for this week. Let's see how this candle will close, but there will be a nice large first presentation potentially there, so I would like to look for that too, and we'll see how it goes. So yeah, today I'm going to be around until around 11, something like that, so 1.5 hours more or less. That's on the menu today. Let me annotate this and let me do this way. First presented fair value gap Monday. Extend to the right. There we go. Good morning, Captain Singh. Have a nice day. Also. Okay, because it's a SIBI, because I would like to see it act as potential bearish PD array. I would like to see potential sell-off towards the relative close, but because it's still tricky, because it's all-time high scenario, because many variables, things that aren't as clean, I'm willing to wait and see how the price trades up around it, because, or in case, if we would like to see a trade above it. So far we traded to the high of it, which is also basically the RTH low for today's trading. Yes, let's add the 15-second chart to the right here, just for a good measure. And yeah, if it's going to trade above it, I'm not gonna worry about it at all. My main interest would be to see the price respect this first printed fair value gap as a measure of a resistance and send us lower towards the sell side here. That's kind of the idea that I have in mind, okay, for this session here. If it's not going to work with that script, then I'm completely comfortable not doing anything with it. So let's see what it will actually present. We trade to about a consecutive encroachment of this premium week, also a upper octane on the new week opening up here for current week. So we might see some reaction around here, but nonetheless, because we closed above this SIBI here, first presented, it turns into a potential inversion for value gap, right? But because I'm looking for lower prices anyway, I don't want to be buying here. Even if it goes higher, I don't want to be buying here. I would rather wait for the price to slip again below this inefficiency here. 931, very nice one, very nice, obvious first printed fair value gap for the week, okay? So the first printed fair value gap on Monday's session, we extend that throughout the week, and it will have great impact, great importance for the price. So keep this in mind. But yeah, so the bodies not closing above the octane here, that's a sign of potential weakness around here. We'll see. Still, we are not in a rush. It's Monday. We had large week yesterday. Last week. So let's do them. Let's allow for them doing some wiggle waggle around. That's completely acceptable. To be honest, it's even preferred to see them offer some like excitement to the upside while we are watching for the sell side here. That will be good or constructive for this idea that I'm outlining, I believe. So we'll see what we get. Alright, trading back into this. So far the bodies are staying inside the upper half, which is not what I want to see, or not what I'm willing to observe here. I will add the consecutive encroachment line. It's right there, it's poking to it, but I'm suspecting that it will give way and we will trade below it. And then if we do so, then I would like to see the price being capped inside of the lower half. But again, I'm kind of willing to let it do what it wants to do the first couple of minutes here. just in case they want to play a little bit more dirty. Okay, nice smash below this, so it kinda goes back to its original function that I was suspecting, to the bearish reclaimed bearish fair value gap. That's what it should act right now. We've taken short-term sell side right here below this low. A comeback towards this lower half of this would be reasonable, I would say. Might not get it. It could just slide right away, but I'm not willing to subscribe to that idea here. If it does, it does. It's fine. It's fine. So trying to use the first printed fair value gap as the model of choice in here. I still suspect they might be playing around a little bit with this drop and try to take it up again to the first printed fair value gap here, because they didn't return to it and sell side here was taken, so it's kind of logical to take it back into this premium array here, and maybe or possibly then offer some downside. We'll see how it goes. So we are seeing some measure of retracement. That's fine. Now I'm watching if we can actually reach the lower half of this Monday first printed fair value gap, which by the way lays on top of a quadrant of the opening new week opening range gap. So really solid qualified PD right here. There is also the SIB in here at 9:38 that we tapped into as institutional over French drill. This could be the factor which could prevent us getting the first printed fair value gap, but I still would favor a price run into this and then possibly vault. But yet I want to see the first 1-2 candles, how it trades into it. Because if we go above it again, then that's kind of suggesting that we might see a wild opening range and wait for the 10 a.m. silver bullet, right? But yeah, nonetheless, the sell side here still has my attention. I still think price is likely to go there, and the only thing that I would like to see is just a deeper retracement into this first printed fair value gap, and that's kind of what I'm looking for and submitting to. We are 6 minutes ahead of the 950 macro. We laid omega clean relative equal highs right here on the 15-second chart that I believe we could tap into at any time, really, because it's kind of too obvious here. So I would like to see that being taken out before or going into the macro, touch into the first printed fair value gap here, cap the price at lower half, and then sell off for the sell side. So that's ideal scenario, best case scenario that I can foresee at this moment. And now let's watch. Lots of back and forth in here, so they are trying to do something here still, in my opinion. Good morning, Mr. Ernest Laney 6900. Welcome. Nice to see you guys, by the way. I hope you guys had a nice weekend. I really hope it was nice. Four minutes until the macro, and yeah, we might be going into the, or we might be trading into the buy set here into the first printed fair value gap, best case, because this in here looks very much as a bear flag in here, which in my opinion, if we would broke out higher, all right, then trade into this as premium ray, then it could maybe roll over for a sell side. NQ6 sister ish, yes. Yeah, if you want to short, you want to short the weaker one, ideally. So let's see if it offers that run higher here at all, right? Because if it smurfs right on through it here, then I'll treat it as some missed opportunity here. But yeah, this kind of looks like too clean as a bear flag pennant here that could be easily faded and then faded again to run the sell side. But yeah, the 15-second here, look at this barcode price action. This is like incredibly manipulated, held on purpose here. So we could see some measure of manipulation here, I believe. Therefore, still waiting. Yeah, going into the 950 to 1010 macro. That's the first macro for the of the morning session after the 9:30 opening bell. Very important time and a very key time for key turning points. Nice run on the relative equal highs. That's what I like, but I still would like to touch into the first printed fair value gap. It rejected that very quickly here. I'm not satisfied with this, but that could be enough for them to take it for the sell side. I would still prefer to touch into the first presentation. Okay, now they are snapping quickly for the short-term low, and they could very easily just speed up and clear out the sell side I laid out there. Yeah, that's probably what they are doing now. So that was the manipulation here, probably running the buy side, and now they expanding towards the relative lows here, tapping into the 50% of the new week opening up current, and initial rejection here is being seen. So if it's good, it should be very quick and fast to get the sell side here. No, not really, not much time to waste. Honestly, if at this point it comes back higher, that's kind of sus. That's kind of weird. That's not what you would like to see here. But they are already playing a little bit weird here, so I wouldn't be surprised by some shenanigans being pulled off. So let's see. The 947 week here, as long as price does not close above it, I believe we should be wilting lower here. There is also the CB on 15 seconds, so let's see. That's kind of deeper than I would like to be entering, so I'm not gonna, but let's see how it offers, or whether it offers anything. Alright, trading above it like this, that's not bearish. Near term, that could suggest a potential deeper retracement, but let's see. The next candle immediately traded to the low, closed below 50%. Very messy, very unorganized price action here, I would say. So yeah, at this point it kind of looks like the best case, or the best idea, was actually the consecutive encroachment of this week coupled with the quadrant here. That was kind of like a best case scenario. Then afterwards I didn't really like anything, like for very good measure of risk to reward. Yeah, so we are back above it again, failed to close below it here, so I'm watching the first presentation again. Okay, that's where my attention is, and the sell side is still open, so that's possibly, I mean, it's still possible for the price to go lower. There we go, they touched the first printed fair value gap here to the low very quickly, so I couldn't even react if I wanted to. And now let's see whether they will push deeper into it, or was this it? And then I might be using the 15-second chart to get in sync. But yeah, so we have a BSI here on the 15-second. I annotated. Still watching whether we will get a deeper run into it. The line in the sand on the the other protocol, how I would be looking to engage this would be if we would inverse this BSI for a fact, then I could have been working with the 15-second here, but until that is really in play, I still would want to allow for a potential deeper trade into the first printed fair value gap, because the 50% is always like the the go to draw. We only touch the low, so the 50% is still open, right? We are making the second attempt right now, trading into it. The first presentation. Okay. Let's see how it can do here. Still watching, still willing to give it some room, some time, just in case if they would just want to just smash right on through it for whatever reason. But so far they are keeping it in the lower half, so that's positive. On the 1 minute we wicked into it, but the body stayed below on this candle. The next one opened right now, and we are likely going to be approaching the consecutive encroachment. So we'll see how this goes. Alright, so 50% tapped, and this will be kind of indicative whether we close above it, that could offer continuation above it, or whether we fail to close above it, that could suggest some more weakness. So far I'm comfortable with what I've done. We closed above it, okay, so I'm watching whether we can get to the high. That would be the next expectation. We close about 50%, so it should have easy time to get to the high. If it doesn't, then that's a sign of weakness. Yeah, so far they are kind of manipulating it, in my opinion, and that was being hinted by the price action here, this barcode. That's fine, that's reasonable. I already anticipated Phil being trying to play around. Alright, trading above the first printed for value gap here. Okay, that's fine. Let's see, because now as we went above it, then this should be acting as a potential inversion for value gap here. I don't want to be calling it high, a top in here just because I would like to. It could fail here and trade lower, no problem, but nonetheless I just want to really like see price prove itself to me. Like I really want to see it now fail and close below it, and then touch into the lower half, and that would be a reasonably easy short. Then right now I don't know, maybe if they want to take this above the high, they could do that. I don't think that should be in play, but you know, they could. Let me see the ES. So ES already actually goes bonkers in comparison. ES is way stronger here. ES made a higher high. Nasdaq failed to make a higher high, clearly weaker one. Okay, SMT divergence on the highs, but overall decoupling too, so it's not helping that much. And the Dow crazy higher, and now just being held in a bull flag here. Looks fakey here. It could sell off there. So back to the MNQ. I can take this off and this off because it was already run. So if that was like a Judas swing, like a manipulation, it could be allowing for a run lower on the sell side here. But the thing is that I want to see the first printed fair value gap, which was a CB, return to its original function, meaning it should trade below it on a closing basis. And then as we would be trading into it, I would expect price to offer some measure of premium sensitivity here, and then that should allow for the run on the relative close. But so far we have decoupling. So far Nasdaq is the weakest one of the herd, but nonetheless, look at the price action so far. It's not showing too much respect to the first presented fair value gap, right? That's also like a hint that I'm taking into consideration. Nonetheless, we traded below it on a weak basis, but the body stayed inside of it on the 1 minute, and this is the time frame of the creation, so this is important. Nonetheless, price closed below the 50%, so that's already showing some weaker order flow in my eyes. So still watching what they want to do around here, whether they want to take it one more time higher and run this short-term high, or trade below it. It's basically a crossroad here. Could do both things. All right, we are leaving below the first presentation again, but I would like to see it on a closing basis. Also, there is this week in here, a discount week, which consecutive encroachment overlaps closely with the low of this. So closing below both would be preferred for potential continuation lower. Let's see. We are also entering the 10 a.m. silver bullet for the morning session. We failed to close below it here. The body stayed inside. Another discount week was presented. We are trading into it right now. I do like the 15-second fair value gap here. It already smashed a little bit lower. Okay, they're playing dirty. They might be taking it quick now. Alright, let me see. Because this candle is most likely going to close below the inversion fair value gap. And what I like this 1 15-second candle here and a potential bearish fair value gap here with the order block. They might be still playing dirty, but this looks promising for a continuation here. But let me actually adjust a little bit. So let's put the stop loss in proper place. It's here above the 50% of this first presentation. I like how perfectly bodies respected this little inefficiency on 15-second. That's very good. And I would like to see price be speeding up around here a little, ideally. And and the sell-side liquidity should be the draw. Nonetheless, I would say as long as the 50%, the lower half of this first presentation here, is not being breached on a closing basis, additional shorts could be in play. Yeah, I'm not too proud about this entry specifically, but it's still kind of like in line and on the edge of being like reasonable. So let's see. Based on what I see in here, it should have been like really quickly smirking lower. I don't like these weeks coming back all together the whole time. That is kind of suspect to me. Lots of weeks on both sides here. Yeah, I don't like this particularly. Watching the fair value gap closely. It would need to offer a push lower here, ideally. All right, so if it could drop from where it is here in the next couple of like 1-2 minutes, then it's last chance for it to do so, in my opinion, kinda, for this idea here to work. So I'm really like putting a time stop on it and considering even closing the trade, just because it's kind of like slipping out of my hands a little bit, unless we start seeing some expansion here. Right, a follow through those relative equal lows here would be really nice and welcome, but so far looks like we are playing around a little bit. Okay, let's give it a try here. Let's give it a chance to lose ground and seek the sell-side liquidity. If it fails here, I might be just cutting the bait on this one, but if it's good, it should be running already here. So those lows here quickly overtaken and expansion should follow. That's what I'm thinking, at least. So nice, those lows taken out, and now I don't want to see come back into the range. It should just lose ground. Okay, that's important here. That's important here. So yeah, I mean, for good measure, I think I will move the stop to even here, because I kinda don't like how they move in here, how much time they spend, and if it's good, it should already be running. And this fair value gap right here, I don't want to see it overtaken. It does, so I'm glad to be out, I think, nonetheless. Even if it would go lower here, then that's fine, but this makes it problematic, okay? So a return into this first presentation is not out of question, in my opinion. Rejection after those lows here were taken like this. I don't like to see that, okay? But that's fine. Reset. Let's reset the mindset. I made a try. I tried to squeeze as much as I could out of it. It didn't offer that much. So now regroup. Okay. The 1 minute isn't too pretty in here. We touched almost to the low of the first presentation. I will take this off now because I want clean chart. This I want to leave there for now. Yeah, so for good measure, now I want to see the lower half being really respected. So any displacement lower on the 15-second off of the lower half would be reasonable idea to be approached. So let's see. If it smurfs lower all the way from here, then that's fine. Then I was too slow on entering here. But yeah. I'm watching this SIBI in here, whether price could maybe return back into it. But looks like they made this touch here, and they might want to quickly run away. Nonetheless, this is still like really back and forth in here on the 1 minute. It's tricky. It's not like super easy, but it's not also as hard, right? I should have been slightly more quicker with this approach into the first presentation here, I guess. But okay, that's fine. I can live with it. I can. Okay. Another nice little pool of relative equal lows being engineered here. That's cool. I want to see this now act as bearish inversion here, this 1 minute. So as price could be trading into it here, okay, as long as we are not smashing right on through it like we do. Okay, difficult session. Okay, they are completely smashing it all the way to the quadrant of the new week opening up, taking it above here. Failed to reach the consecutive encroachment of the first presentation, but went way above this inversion here, taking out this buy side. That could have been some measure of manipulation here. So if we could sleep below it here and retouch the low of this, I would see that as a potential entry there, I think. Let's see if that happens at all. The 1 minute closed above it. Not what I wanted to see though. Okay, I guess with the price action so far, with what we've seen, I can like state that this is not the environment to like push really hard. Still, if things align well, I think the sell side is too clean, and it will be likely targeted. Nonetheless, finding a very low risk type of entry is a little bit more challenging in here, which I see. So I'm more up to like look for either like best case scenario type of idea that I like, that fits my model, or I just, you know, let it go and do its thing. So that's kind of the idea. We are again below the lower inversion fair value gap here. And I do kind of see this as measure of manipulation, and that we run this high out, that was like turtle soup maybe, or type of idea. And now really there is no reason not to take it lower. In my opinion, there is no reason to take it any higher anymore. So any return back into this inversion here is potentially shortable, or at least I might be giving it a try, or using this idea as my entry mechanism. So let's see. Alright, so they snapped quickly the sell side. That should be a sign that they are running for it now. So that's fine. If they take it all the way up higher again, very suspect. So I'm watching and or allowing for them to run without me if they want. Do it now. Lots of sell-side liquidity resting around here. That's the low of the day so far. Lots of sell-side below it too. Very obvious, very clean area in price. Watching this 15-second suspension block here, whether it could offer anything or more protraction to the downside. Still kind of tricky, still kind of difficult morning, I would say, with all of this back and forth. And yeah, but nonetheless, they did so much manipulation already that it really makes it pretty straightforward to just shut should lower for the sell side. They came very close to the low here. A discount week right there. I'm watching this. Price closed above it right away, so that could maybe suggest a potential return to this suspension block. But we already closed below it here. All right, so some dirty plays being still utilized here. Very tricky morning, very tricky. So now I'm watching the inversion here on 1 minute again. The fact that they didn't took out the sell side yet and they left relatively close here makes me think that the idea about lower is still valid as it is, but looks like there might be another layer of manipulation. If that's the case, the most logical premium array on the upside in here, I would say, is this inversion fair value gap right now here from 1009. Not saying that they will take it up there, but if they did, that's an area to watch for potential turn. But yeah, already closing above this suspension block here, so that's a little bit suspect. Sell side still in place. They really don't want anyone to be part of that move, it feels like. So far it fell short of that inversion by a little bit. Alright, so we are going to be touching the low of it. And now I'm leaving the first candle to see on the 15-second whether it won't smash right on through it. But it traded to the 50% and closed below it. That's positive. If we can if it can stay like this, that's positive, I would say. Okay, so utilizing this inversion fair value gap here, close proximity, still aiming for the sell side here. With the stop loss above 50 consecutive encroachment of the first presented fair value gap. So it's quite wide, but I don't want to risk a silly stop out. If they want to go up there, then there you go. I'm probably wrong, but yeah, I consider that this run here was a manipulation already. No need to go above it, in my opinion. There is this weak consecutive encroachment. They could do that. So approaching the low of the first presentation, possible, preferably not, but possible. And yeah, that's as far as I would go. I like how the bodies are respecting the lower half on the 1 minute here. I like that. Okay, so I'm adding the weak gradings on the 1 minute, but so far the bodies being capped in the lower half was nice, but apparently the 1 minute did close above it here, so that's slightly less favorable. But as long as we stay below the 50% of this week, that's still possible to unfold, I believe. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm sticking with. Nonetheless, the high resistance liquidity run conditions are clearly there. So this is not an easy day. Okay, ideally after we close above it on 1 minute, if the next candle could close below it, would be great. It went below it, but it closed inside of it, so that's less favorable, but still maybe manageable. Lots of higher highs also along the way on the 15-second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 higher highs. And we will be approaching the low of the first presentation likely with the consecutive encroachment of this premium week. So that this area in here will be like really make or break kinda, or type of idea. Alright, consecutive encroachment on the week booked. So far failed to touch into the first presentation. Rejection would be ideal. So now it's trading back into this inversion here. Preferably it just gives way. And we see a run on the sell side after all of this mess. Okay, that's good. That's what I want to see, but I want to see it to maintain that heaviness, okay? Not just initial drop and reject. It should not reject that. It did everything on the premium perfect. No reason to go back higher. And this inversion here on 1 minute should act as strict resistance right now because we went above it already. Okay, so now I will be trimming the stop loss to right above this inversion, because at this point I don't want to give it an allowance even to go above it. If it does, then it's really not my session today. So let's see now if we can manage to maintain a steady run on the sell side liquidity from where it is. So far so good. The lows here should just act as a speed bump to get all of the liquidity here on the downside. Preferably no deep retracement, no deep retracements at this moment, just heavy price action. And if or as we will take those Rativico lows, I will move the stop loss to break even. Then I remove the risk and should be fine. $10:30, so we also completed the first hour of trading. There is this SIBI here that price could always touch into. Preferably it doesn't, but if it does, then let's see a rejection there. Very close to the sell side, so it's really crouching in here. One up candle here would be fine, but really I want to see speed after what I've seen already. Alright, sell side in crosshairs. Let's see if we can touch it. There we go. Stop loss goes to break even. We did dipped into the sell side here, but didn't yet tapped into the target that I was looking for, those Rativico lows. And yeah, if that's what they do here and they deny my target, then I'm definitely out for the morning. But yeah, would be slightly unlucky, but nonetheless, with taking into consideration all of these conditions today so far, I'm not surprised if they would leave me like this. But touching back into the SIBI, it should offer resistance. This was only a week, so I'm still looking for a body, more meaningful run. There is still sell side in place, so nothing changed. But yeah, would have been really funny if they would just went four handles short of my target and then reverse. That would be pretty hilarious, not gonna lie. But yeah, this week, this discount week, I really want to annotate the 50%. Let's make it like this. So far price touched perfectly to it and reacted. What I want to see quick body closure below that level, and that would suggest to me that we are likely going to see a lower low, which should fill me. But if it doesn't, then I'm already set. Alright, consecutive encroachment again. let's see if we can get any speed. All right, I don't like seeing rejection like this here. That's not what I like. And that's problematic for my position. Okay, that's not gonna lie, that's an issue here. That's exactly not what I wanted to see, but I see that, so I gotta tell you that this is problematic here. It still could deliver, it still could, but it makes it a little bit more tricky in my opinion. So I will submit to the time. Whatever happens happens. I'm already break even at the trade, worst case, so that's fine. But yeah, okay, looks another attempt here would be really nice if it could see follow through. But again, that not closure below the consecutive encroachment makes it problematic, more rangy, more high resistance, and it invites possibility for a deeper retracement, which in this case would be really against what I hold as a position, right? But yeah. Okay, another attempt to get through the consecutive encroachment. Let's see if it works this time. But clearly the high resistance type of conditions want to fight for the last handle here. They don't want to give anything without battle, without fighting. And it closed above the consecutive encroachment again, so still it makes this slow, problematic, and yeah, I would even consider closing it here, to be honest, after this many failures to go below it. But I guess I already submitted to the idea that whatever happens happens. That yeah, not gonna lie, this rally here could stop me out. I can see that coming, to be honest. So it is what it is, I guess. At the same time, the SIBI that we are trading into also is respecting or rejecting the price inside of the lower half, which is what I want to see, right? So on one side I see a PD array that offers what I want to see, and at the other side I see PD array that offers what I don't want to see, which is in nature problematic. But in this type of high resistance conditions like we see today, it's even more tricky kinda to trust. Yeah, but nonetheless, from here it could retrace deeper, especially as it doesn't want it to close below the consecutive encroachment on that week. It makes it basically 50-50 in my opinion. here, and only because I'm already break even, I'm kind of like fine sticking for my objective here. And yeah, if it's not being taken out here today, I mean right now during this morning session, I will keep that in mind, keep that level, that sell side level in mind for the remainder of the day, and I'm pretty confident that it will be hit today eventually. But yeah, I like how the bodies are staying inside of this 1027 CB here. I like this. Now if it could turn here and make another attempt for going lower, it should give way here, and that would be good. But it's really apt to not go any higher here. If it does, then I'm probably wrong on this one. Okay. Now let's kiss the sell side and just leave me alone, Nasdaq. There we go. There we go, guys. Booyah. Booyah. Yeah. Emotion. Release. Euphoria. Nah, just kidding. Just kidding. Yeah. Great. Cool. Delivered. Hard as hell holding this trade. Really difficult. Really high resistance. Really annoying. Really not pleasant. But still. Delivered to where I outlined ahead of time, and even outlined how it could deliver. So W in the chart, guys, and we are even 20 minutes ahead of schedule. That's pretty. All right. So with this here being taken out, I kind of like don't know for the rest of the morning session what is like on the menu. I wouldn't be surprised if they would like to take it back to the first presentation here or higher again at some point, but yeah, I don't want to sell a hard bias either way. Thanks for W's, yeah. Oh yeah. So my OG crew in the chat is cool. But yeah, nonetheless, this is how it looks like. Very difficult session. Very difficult one to navigate. Lots of manipulation, lots of stop rates, lots of stuff happening there. I like the lows here if it wants to continue, and maybe even those right here if it wants to really go crazy lower, which I don't know. I'll be honest, at this moment I don't know what it wants to do. It can come back and chop the bit a little bit more going into the lunch. It is what it is, I guess. As far as I know, tomorrow we have some high impact news events on the calendar, so tomorrow might be more loose, more interesting, I think. And yeah, nonetheless, we'll see. Hmm. Yeah, I think I'm going to end the stream here. I'll be there tomorrow for the morning session again, 9:30 starts, and we'll have some fun with that tomorrow. Nonetheless, it was a pleasure as always. I hope you guys enjoyed this hard session with me today, and yeah, I wish you guys a pleasant reminder of the day, and see you tomorrow. So bye bye, ciao, bella.